Hello, wrestling world. We're going to be doing something just a little bit different here today. We talk a lot about why we love wrestling, the moments, characters, the heroes. But sometimes wrestling doesn't just entertain you, sometimes it saves you. Today's guest didn't just grow up watching Sting, he decided to become Sting. And somewhere in between the face paint and the conventions, he turned his whole life around. From a rough past dealing with anxiety disorder, depression, and even alcohol abuse, all things that we'll get into. Uh, Being someone that kids and other adults look up to at these shows and the conventions. That's bigger than fandom. That's purpose. And honestly, pretty badass. So let's meet the man behind the paint. Jack, welcome. All right.
Okay, what an intro. You're gonna get me up, gonna get me all flustered here.
So we like to do to get things going. So we kind of already met people here before we started recording, but Grandma, Evie, how we doing?
Excited, just got back. Been a long day, but we're here for it.
Hear you. Speaking of long day, so it's obviously it's late night here, but over where you are, Jack, it is early in the morning. It was an early rise for you, so we do appreciate you accommodating that. It's hard when we're all three in different time zones and the different parts of the day, but appreciate your
Hello,
being.
mate. That's cool. I got up at 5 a.m. I got up at 5 a.m. to get showered, get dressed, do my hair, and get the face paint on, but it's okay. It's a
That's
pleasure.
awesome. That's awesome.
You look
That'll probably be about the
amazing,
time I
brother.
get to bed, so.
Cheers. Thank you.
So just kind of getting into it, you had that look down. I mean, the paint's great. How often do you actually get mistaken? Like, people obviously take a second look whenever they see you. I know you go to different shows and different conventions in the face paint, in the gimmick.
To be honest, it's not often. I mean, I've always said in like reels, I'm not the same build as Sting. I'm not the same height as Sting. I don't have the same hair as Sting or whatever. But there was a point where I went to a wrestling event recently. I went this past weekend, went to Smash Pro Wrestling here in Devon, where I live in the UK. And it was during the second match. There was a ladies match where one of the girls came out who was the baby face, and she came out and she had to do a double take of me in the crowd, and then she just looked at me, pointed her finger at me, and just screamed, "It's Sting!" Like, that was pretty awesome.
And that was one of the things I
Hell
wanted
yeah.
to talk about because of course, Tony Schiavone, it's Sting.
Yeah,
I,
man.
I thought about kind of introducing that way, but I don't have the vocal cords for that. I just
Well, that's why I did the howl, because I wanted him to feel a little comfortable, because it's Sting.
Yeah, it's
But
much appreciated.
I don't have the Shivani.
Yeah.
No, I see. My Shivani turned into Vince, and Vince never liked Sting, so let's not even go there.
I sound like I'm going through puberty for the second or third time, so that's why I'm not. Um, just kind of continuing with some icebreakers here. Have you had any weird photo requests? I'm sure people come up to you want to get some pictures with you. I've seen you getting in with some of the wrestlers over this week on Instagram.
Well, it's only someone recently that I started to actually take the gimmick out into the world, which has been really weird. Oddly, I think I told you guys before, I struggle with an anxiety disorder, but oddly, wearing the face paint and the full gear, I feel more confident like this than when I'm out of it. It's really weird. But I had a lot of times when people wanted to take pictures with me at the wrestling shows, and like usually I'm the one who's asking them, which is yeah, it's something I'm not used to, but it's something which even though I know I'm not Sting and never proclaimed to be Sting, it's just a way for me to pay tribute to the man.
It's kind of like a Danhausen thing. Like, when you see him in full face paint, face regalia, you don't think twice about it. Like, it's like I wouldn't ever.
Yeah.
I mean, I know what he looks like, but if I saw him at a show, I wouldn't be like, "Oh, Danhausen." Like, I would be like, "Oh, what's up, dude?" Like, I wouldn't know who he was out of the paint. But he's talked about that too, with his anxiety like completely shuts down because he's embodied the character of
Yeah.
very very nice, very frightening. Like, and it's cool. Like, I dig it.
Yeah, it's cool having to be when I'm at a wrestling show and just being able to just not even react, not shouting, jumping up and down, screaming, just sitting there doing the whole Sting in the Raptors thing, just, giving the heels the side eye.
Still getting over just being out in the
Yeah,
crowd.
he went. How long did Sting go without actually talking? Was it like 9 months?
It's over. I think it's either just under a year or over a year, something like that. But I, I know as well. I did about 15 years of independent wrestling here in the States, and every time somebody comes up and asks for that picture, it's just it's weird. So I can empathize with you a little bit there. So it's cool, but it's also like it takes you back for a minute. But all right, so before we take a deep dive, let's get in our Wayback Machine and talk about your origin story a little bit here. So
Wait, did Conrad copyright that?
the Wayback Machine.
Yeah.
I hope not, because I know I got it from somewhere. I just kept saying it.
I don't want him coming out. He's a big man. So I have some questions for you if you don't mind. When not why, because I know why, but when did Sting become your guy?
To be honest, I can't exactly identify when, but it was I think a lot of us, especially me, I first started watching WWE originally. That was the thing which I first saw. I'm not sure what the first memory of wrestling I had was, but I do remember watching WWE from an early age in like what we had Sky Sports back in the day or Channel 4 and seeing WWE and going, what is this? It was something so different, just so different from everything else I had seen. And then I was remember going through the channels when I was a kid, and I found this channel, which I'm not sure if you ever had in the States. It was called Bravo. And I found Bravo, and it said it's total nonstop action. And I thought, what is this? I had no idea what this thing was. And I saw the 6-sided ring, and it was so different to WWE. So I watched a lot more TNA when I was a kid than I did WWE. I saw like Kurt Angle was there, and Kevin Nash was there. Who else was there? But
Samoa Joe, AJ
Samoa
Styles.
Joe. There was I think even Curry Man, like Shark Boy, like all kinds of like crazy,
He's
all kinds of like crazy
He's
cats there.
spicy.
Yeah, Shark Boys got a good kick out of that. But then when I saw Sting, and just Sting was just so different from everybody else. Didn't say very much, but yeah, was hard hitting and was just hard hitting. Had a unique look, and for whatever reason, I'm not sure whether it's just because even as a kid, like I always felt like a little bit different from like the other kids, kind of like an outsider, like I didn't really belong to any sort of cliques or whatever. But with Sting, I sort of identified with being that sort of the more quieter guy who didn't really say much, but his actions spoke louder than anything else. I just think that's why I identified with Sting so much.
So I mean, I
Okay.
see you have the Crow Sting makeup on. Is that because it's the latest, or do you have do you have affinity more for Crow Sting versus Surfer Sting? And also, fun fact: do you know where where he got the Crow idea from?
Uh, it was was it Scott Hall? Was it Kevin Nash?
Scott Hall.
Scott Hall.
He came up to him and he said in a multiple interviews, he's like, "Hey,
I'm not
brother."
telling you to rip off Undertaker, but you should rip off Taker.
Yeah, pretty much. But so you're more Surfer. I mean, you're more Crow Sting than Surfer Sting.
But yeah, more Crow Sting
Sounds
and
like most of his
NWO
fandom
Wolfpack
came
Sting.
from the posting DNA.
Yeah, Crow Sting, Wolfpack Sting. I never rule out doing Surfer Sting. I just need the right sort of. I've not been not really delved into Surfer Sting yet, but definitely this time I probably will at some point.
You mix up the gimmick a little bit. You froze a little bit on my end, so I'm not sure. Hopefully, our listeners caught what you said, but I didn't catch everything you said. But hopefully it picked up on the feed. Maybe it's just my side. So let's get down to so I'm a big CM Punk fan. But I grew up not really. I mean, I had the tail end of Roddy Piper's career, but I've always felt like I was a big kid. I was good at sports, and I didn't really fit in with any one group, and I was always funny, I had a quick tongue, and so for me, I wasn't really, I was looking for something that I didn't have, and I leached on to someone like CM Punk because he kind of looked like me, and I felt like I looked like him, and like that was my guy. And as I gotten older, it's I think I chose correctly. So like I have a reason why I chose CM Punk. Do you have some type of reasoning besides just because you thought he was cool? Like, was there something that really kind of ingrained on you and made you feel like, you know what, out of all these guys, that I like that. I want to be like that.
I think it was the kind of like I know some wrestlers live their gimmick, but then it was sort of even behind the face paint, you can still tell that it's Steve Borden behind the face paint. But it's also the guy himself. I really admired outside of the face paint, and he's been really open about like his life, like discovering like faith, sobriety, and whatnot, and just the guy in general. I just find sometimes a bit more fascinating than the actual wrestler, even though they seem to be kind of one and the same. But um, it's not just admiration for the character Sting, but what the character Sting represents, sort of like the silent Avenger sort of thing, the last ditch hope for if like when pretty much all hope is lost, and then Sting is the last one that you call upon. But then you have Steve Borden, who I really admire for like someone to someone to own up to maybe their mistakes and be so honest and open about their lives and then maybe the benefit of helping other people, which he seems to be doing in things like church and so on. And it's just really cool to see that metamorphosis into the guy that he is now.
You know, as a God-fearing man myself, and I've gotten a little bit more into my own faith, seeing Sting really kind of just show up on those Christian channels sometimes and really get into like he doesn't force it on anybody, which I appreciate, but
Yeah.
he still lives by a certain set of standards. And I think for me that has really made me more of a Sting fan. I always liked what his in-ring was, but to really kind of, you know, him, Undertaker, and a few other guys never really opened the door to let them know who they were and like what they actually did outside of wrestling. And just to start to see that stuff go on, for me, I think that's an amazing answer you give, and I really do appreciate it. And you said you did say that you got pictures taken with fans and whatnot. Like, is there in the UK? Is there other um cosplayers that dress up similar to you or take it as serious as you may take it? And is there like, do you guys get together and act out stuff? Because Evie and I went to Mania last year and we saw like Macho Man and he was doing something with a fake dust, not a fake, but like a cosplay Dusty Rhodes and cosplay Hulk Hogan. And there was, you know, whoever you could think of, there was a cosplay for them. So like in the UK, are you the cosplay for Sting? Is there any other guys you see that dress up in the full regalia like you do? And do you interact with any of the other cosplayers at shows?
There is other guys. They're mostly based in the United States where you guys are, but um, I've seen a few Sting cosplayers. One, I think I'm getting his Instagram handle right. Uh, Bobby of the Reels. I think he does really good stuff for Sting. But I've said in past reels before on Instagram that obviously Sting is the main inspiration for why I do all this. But then the other guy is a guy called, which I've shouted out a bunch of times, called Doppelstinger. A guy called Joe. He's based in Georgia, I think. And he does such an amazing AEW Crow Sting, and like he was like the other main guy who was like, oh, if this guy can do it, then what's stopping me doing it? And he looks, and I know he like says like I'm not Sting, like whatever, but he does look so much like Sting, even down to like the hair, everything. He does such an amazing job, and like there was times when I've had to do a double take when I've been flipping through reels and photos and going, hang on, is that Sting? Oh no, that's Joe. But then I always get a kick out of seeing him on AEW TV in the front row.
And I'll tell you,
Your makeup looks amazing. My favorite is Joker Sting, but I just wanted to
I
throw that
love
out there. I love that version, but I think Evie has some questions for you.
Well, I was just wondering more so like what it takes to be you, like to be staying in the ring, and like how much time you spend as far as like your gear or just your entire persona. Like what is your how do I
Goes
say
into
it?
becoming Sting. That Sting.
Yeah. Well, I know it's
How
Sting,
long
but
does all
like
this kind of
you
take?
you yourself, you become that character. Like how do you prep
Right.
for that?
Right, gotcha. I mean, usually before I do any of this, I put on all the gear first. So like that all goes on, but it really doesn't really start to take effect until all of this is on. And it's kind of I know this sounds really weird, really strange, but it's like putting on a mask, and it's sort of like gives you a bit of a superpower. And just for a little while, you know you're not that person, but just for a little while, you can just be that
Yeah,
guy
cause
just
see,
for a little bit.
I see a lot of like well, I've seen kind of backstage with like Rhea Ripley, as her as what is it, Dennis Bennett is her name? Um
Demi Bennett, yeah.
Demi.
Demi Bennett. And then she's talking about her anxiety and how she's so nervous about doing whatever she does, and then when she's in the ring, she's Rhea Ripley. Like how do you feel about that in your experience?
Well, it's kind of like I know some cosplayers that dress up as Spider-Man, and it's like you almost become Peter Parker, you become Spider-Man. It is honestly like a superpower. I can't truly explain it because I've gone through anxiety my entire life, and I feel more anxious outside of the face paint than I do inside it. When this is on, I feel confident. Not that I feel like I could take on the world and like beat anybody up or whatever. That's not what it's about. It's just about having fun and just being my hero just for a little bit of time. But while it's on, I do feel like it's some sort of superpower. It's a definite confidence booster, and that's part of the reason why I did this. So I could there's my cat. Part of the reason why I did this whole thing is just a
That's
bit of a
awesome though.
and
It's it's
just a bit of a confidence boost, and it really has helped me with my confidence and just push myself out there a little bit because I feel like I can't do this and not take it out into the world.
that's awesome. And then like as far as your gear goes, like for a wrestler or I guess coming up, like what does that take? Is that just everything on you? Like what do you use to prepare? Because everyone obviously has different gear, different outfits, different everything to turn into their character. What does that look like for you?
Well, thing is, when it comes to wrestling, like I have trained as a wrestler before. I never rule out ever doing it ever again. But obviously that was I the last wrestling I did professionally was when I was like 20, and that was 10 years ago. I'm now 30. I've just recently turned 30. And so I'm like, oh, wonder how much of that career is kind of left in these bones. But I never rule it out. But so wrestling, I'm happy just doing the cosplay stuff, but it's kind of, I go really in extra detail when I'm looking at close up images of Sting, how he does the face paint and so on, like the lines and different designs. Like I go full in depth. I was looking at the gloves and like the shirts, the jackets and everything. But it depends what sort of look I'm doing because yes, there's Crow Sting, but then there's the long coat Sting. There's all the different kinds of shirts. You can do TNA Sting, you can do WWE Sting, you can do AEW Sting, later AEW Sting. There's so many different looks, and I've got a whole box under my bed just full of jackets, full of face paint, boots, you name it. Like I got it all. It just depends on what I'm doing that day.
That's awesome. And it's just like a different mood each time, and you just pick out what sting you want to be at that point.
Pretty much, the crow sting is the one I do the most often, but I do love getting to put on the red and black. I do enjoy the red and black, but putting the red on my face, yeah, for life, brother. But doing the red Wolfpack sting, while I love doing it, it is such a pain in the ass to get it off my face because red's such a stubborn paint to get off.
Yeah, I can imagine it's not the easiest thing in the world.
Oh no, this is
Grandma, you had
easy.
a question?
I wanted to ask if you got your gear at the same place Sting does. Like, have you done that type of in depth. Like how deep is this, and what is something like? It's none of my business what you pay to do what you do. But inquisitive minds may wonder, for you, what kind of investment is it to turn into Sting, and what, like, from head to toe, what does it cost you to live this out, and do you make any money off of this?
I do this purely just because I'm just having fun. Don't get me wrong. If somebody wanted to throw money at me for doing this, I wouldn't turn it down. But because we could always do with a bit of extra these days. But I thought about when I was looking into this is a good example actually. The bomber jackets which Sting was wearing in the later part of AEW were from Alpha Industries, and I looked up those jackets online, and they was something like $250 like each, and I thought, oh man, that's expensive for a bomber jacket. So I ended up just doing a little bit of sleuthing online on Amazon, and I would go on Amazon and I would find like a bomber jacket that looks quite similar, but then I've got a local print shop that does my designs for me, and so they would like embroider the back or print something on the back, and
That's rad.
it looks really similar,
It is
but
rad.
it looks really similar, but it's just kind of when you're a cosplayer and it's all DIY, you have to find ways to do it yourself. But as long as you're happy with it and it's the same kind of thing, then I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
Well, that's awesome.
We love a good DIY project.
But
I
yeah,
absolutely love DIYs. It's my thing. If I can make it, it's gonna come out amazing.
I think it's more satisfying when you do it yourself. I think it's more satisfying.
Shows more ownership. It lets you feel, you put in more work. You didn't just click a button to buy something. You had to really make
Funny
it.
story about that. Jericho. So Jericho was somewhere, and he had the light up jacket when he was doing the Ayatollah of Jericho, whatever he was doing, the Festival of Friends, and someone in the audience had a jacket that was identical to his, and his lights went out. So he had one of the stagehands go talk to the guy and let him use it. So the guy in the stands actually let him use his jacket on a show, which nobody really. It was when he had when Moxley had the pet plant, and that when he broke it, that night was the night he used a fan's jacket, and the fan ended up like Jericho paid like $3,000 for his jacket, and the fan got one off of like Temu for like $250, and he ended up getting jackets from the guy the fan got jackets from, which I thought was pretty fun. Like, that's crazy. Imagine going to cosplay and the wrestler actually uses your product because theirs broke. Like, that's crazy.
I did not know that. That's hilarious. I love that.
So let's get a little bit into like your 20s and like what your book will that be part of what we're gonna be seeing kind of on your Instagram you mentioned depression, anxiety during that time. Like, are we gonna be seeing some of that in your book?
No, that's something completely different. It's a story I had in my head when I started that thing when I was 27, and then it's going to be coming out later part of this year. I say November, December time. But if any of you guys are fans of like Red Dead Redemption, it's very much that kind of vibe.
So, you mentioned on Instagram that you battled depression and anxiety, and as someone who's done the same, I appreciate your candidness and your openness to really put yourself out there and talk about it, which I think a lot of other males um need. And maybe some people look up to you because you are Sting in your persona, and hearing about it from you, like, I think it's awesome that you're talking about it and really putting yourself out there, and you're able to do it because you're behind the mask, and or not the mask but the face paint. Like, it empowers you, right? So can you just talk about the decision to talk about it on Instagram and put it out there, and really, basically open yourself up for the internet's the wild wild west. So anybody can come at you sideways and talk about whatever they want if you give them a little bit. So you allowing others in to do that, like, I think it's one, thank you, two, bravo, and three, it's such a courageous thing. Like, I love to hear your take and your why for it. Because if you listen to our podcast, I'm always the one who asks why. Why a gimmick goes over. Why are we listening? Why are we watching? So What's your why for wanting to put yourself out there, and thank you for doing it in advance?
There was kind of no real formula for doing it. I just kind of felt like doing it one day, and I just felt like because I was starting to gain a little bit of traction, a little bit of like a following,
Oh,
just
I
doing
think
this.
we
Not,
lost you there for a second.
I was gaining a little bit of a following, a little bit of like some more followers as time went on. But then it was kind of, well, if I got this sort of platform and if I'm able to reach people doing this, then I may as well talk about the kind of stuff which
Keep that out
I
for you
don't
guys.
see many. You guys all right?
It
Sorry, we kind of
the
lost you
feed
right there
keeps
on your.
cutting in
Yeah.
and out on your answer.
Okay. Well, the following which I had, I thought about taking the cosplay and being able to reach as many people as I could through the cosplay. And if I can be open and honest and talk about my own struggles, if it just helps one person, that's good enough for me.
So-
And I want
And
to
then
second what Grandma said there. I definitely appreciate it because I think we all, at some point in our life, kind of deal with those kind of things. Everybody on a different level, obviously. So it's also as somebody that dealt with uh, depression, anxiety, and on medication for it. And again, I kind of mentioned that when I reached out to you. It's uh, kudos to you for coming out on the other side, and thank you for being willing to be open about it because it's definitely not everybody's willing to do that.
It's tough, man. It's tough. I'm at the stage where I'm
I
30
wish
years
more
old.
people had the balls to do it, to be honest with you.
Well, I've
so I
told
have a
people
fun
that.
question for you.
Yeah, yeah.
If you could talk to your younger self, what would you tell him?
Don't be so
What would
hard on
be
yourself.
something your younger self probably would not believe your current self is doing?
If I said to my younger self that you're gonna end up writing a book and you're gonna end up writing a whole series with your best friend that you're actually gonna be pitching later this year, like that's impossible. Because I spent so long never knowing what the heck I was gonna do with my life. And it's kind of when I struggled with depression and anxiety, which I still do, it's not the kind of thing it just goes away one day. It's you still got it. I still deal with it, but it's kind of when you find your purpose eventually, it is so much more fulfilling knowing you're actually working towards something. Because I remember when I reached 30 years old, and I don't mind telling you guys this, and if it helps somebody else, but I thought I'm 30 years old. I never expected to make it to this year. I never expected to make it to 30. But now that I have and seeing where I've gone through and everything, which I've gone through to be here now, I kind of can't believe it myself.
That's awesome. If you can share one positive, strong message to the world, what would it be?
Well, the best message which I have to anybody is this is especially relevant after my dad passed away in the September of 2021. And it's that stop living for time and start living for moments. Don't feel, I know we want to save money, as much money as we can, but at the same time, don't feel guilty about spending money on that wrestling event that you want to go see. Don't feel guilty about that vacation you want to go to with your friends. Don't feel guilty about, taking the time to enjoy the stuff which you love doing. Because if we all think that we got plenty of time. I'll do that thing next week. I'll do it next month. I'll do it next year. But time ain't gonna wait for you. That thing that you want to do, go do it right friggin' now because time ain't gonna wait for you.
We love spending reckless amounts of money on Survivor
Bravo.
Series in San Diego.
That-
I
that's some-
absolutely love your answer. That was probably one of the biggest conversations Grandma and I had. We're like, it's hard, and I know we want to save, and I know we want the generational wealth, and I know we want everything, but there's a lot of people who are not living today. Tomorrow we might not wake up, and we're still trying to save for the day after. So
Yeah.
your
Can't buy
message is
memories. I mean,
your
yeah,
message is beautiful, and I absolutely appreciate you for having that outlook because not many people do, and I share that with you, and I appreciate that.
Well, I don't get me wrong. It's important to obviously, I say like it's important. I know they say you got to grow up sometime. You got to grow up, but you don't have to grow old. I say you don't have to grow old. Like I mean, come on. I'm a 30-year-old man. I still love playing dress up. I still love the same things I loved as a kid, just more so. I always say I never grew up. I just bought more expensive toys.
Yeah, no, for sure.
It's funny you say that because a promotion I used to work for, and it's kind of been stuck in my head for the last 14 years or the 15 years I did it. He said, we can't take each other and ourselves too seriously because we're just grown men fake fighting in our underwear. And he would say that before every show.
Yes.
And you know, and that sticks with you because again, I'm perpetually 9 years old. I'm gonna be 36 this year, but I'm a big 9 year old. When my kids have friends over, I'm usually in there, playing whatever they're playing, and then sore for the next 3 days. But it's again, amen.
Sweet. That's sweet.
So kind of circling back, we know your message to people and how you want to reach out to them, and you opened up about your struggles to the world and hoping that you can help someone else through that in one way or another. Has there been a time where someone has said something to you or someone's impacted you in that way aside from
Uh,
Sting? Because clearly we know we love it. Or
definitely.
like a fan or anything of that sort. Anyone who just really just you talk to and it just something clicked.
Uh, actually, yes. There was a time when I've actually had the opportunity to chat somewhat frequently. We haven't chatted for a little while, but I had the chance years ago. It's a long story that I got the chance to interview Mark Merrow. You guys know Mark Merrow? And with Mark Merrow, we got the chance to like talk, and he does a lot of things going around to different churches, talking about his life and whatnot, and struggles with like addiction, his struggles with wrestling and all that kind of stuff. But I mean, just if you ever get the chance to listen to any of his long speeches, I do say take the chance to go and listen to it. The guy who's gone from absolute rock bottom all the way to where he is now. I mean, there is something to be had. There's something to be had there. There's wisdom to learn there. That it's never too late. It's never too late for anybody. It doesn't matter whether you're 20, 25, 30, 40, whatever. It's never too late to turn things around, to be happy, and to go do what you want to do.
That's
I mean,
sweet.
the guy did lose his wife to Brock Lesnar, so
But yeah, I always got a kick out of that story of when he like listened to the voicemail of like this guy on the phone saying how much he missed her and everything, and said,
yeah.
"But when I know who this guy is, I'm gonna go beat the crap out of this guy," and then found out it was Brock Lesnar and thought better of it.
Yeah, I couldn't
He's like,
imagine.
you
Nope.
know what, you can have her, bro.
Yeah, like I don't want that smoke.
How much money do you want to steal my wife? I couldn't imagine. And I think you mentioned the Doppelstinger earlier. That what he goes by? I actually saw him in Pittsburgh and was coming around the corner going into the convention center, and for a split second, I was like, "Oh, damn, Sting's already out here." But yeah, he's one that I guess in the States he's doing over here what you're doing over there, so it's pretty cool.
Yeah, like the guy looks awesome. He does so. Yeah, he doesn't give himself enough praise. He doesn't give himself enough credit for me.
Do you do the full wig?
No, I have. I've not done the WCW thing. I could have done last year. I had my long hair, but I cut my long hair off before I went to New Orleans. That wasn't last year, it was the year before. I went to New Orleans, and just before I went, it was getting so hot in England, and I knew it was going to be really hot when I went to New Orleans, and I just went, no, I've had enough of this, and I just shaved my head before I went, but it was so hot, and I was so hot there. You guys have really weird
No,
temperatures there. Like we measure in I think we measure in Celsius. You guys measure in Fahrenheit.
that's
It's really weird.
crazy.
But it was so hot in New Orleans. But
Imagine just
yeah, it was a good thing I cut the long hair off, because it
I
was just
just did
like,
it
get
recently,
outta
but
here.
that's insane.
All right, there he's back.
Alrighty. Uh hold on.
I think Beard's got some questions.
All right, so for this next part, first of all, is there anything that you want to add that maybe we didn't ask you before we get into this next part?
Dude, we can't hear you very well.
Yeah, I lost you there for a sec.
Sorry. Is there anything that we haven't covered or anything we haven't talked about to try to discover more about you that you would like to share? Anything we haven't touched
Yeah,
on?
yeah. I think today is my 470th day of no nothing. And like we were talking about, Grandma, were you talking about CM Punk? I'm actually
Congratulations, that's
straight edge
awesome.
now as well. So
Sorry, you cut off. Your 470th day of what? I'm sorry.
470 days sobriety.
Hey,
Oh,
let's
that's awesome.
go!
We love that for you.
Right.
Congratulations, man.
That's awesome.
What a huge feat for you. Damn.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
And
And
so
it's
I never thought
today.
would
That's
happen.
crazy. That's awesome.
I'm fortunate enough like that I haven't had to deal with that, but I've heard people that are friends say that it's obviously something that you never fully get away from. So how have you made it for 470 days? Because a lot of people, they'll get 2 or 3 days in and then they're relapse or whatever. So what's your trick, your motivation?
Remembering why you quit in the first place. And it's kind of because oddly I quit smoking and I quit drinking at the exact same time, so I was double grumpy. So that was really tough. But it's kind of going, okay, just one more day, just one more day, just one more day. But then sometimes it's replacing old habits with new ones. So whenever I wanted a cigarette, I would like take like toothpicks and like shove them in my mouth and just chew on them. I would like chew gum. You have to change habits, but then the more time goes on, the easier it gets. And don't get me wrong, there's times when sometimes you get like you get the urge, you get the bite that you just kind of, I just want to drink or I just want a cigarette, something like that. But then it's going, hang on, I've gone 400 and something days without it. Like, I think I can manage another day.
Right. Good deal. That's
What
awesome.
was your
That's
rock
awesome.
bottom on that? What made you make the decision to go sober?
Well, I was already sort of drinking before that, but then my dad dying was the thing which really kicked me over the edge, and I put on a lot of weight, drank a whole bunch, and I just got to one point when it was actually, it
Right.
was Halloween 2024. And when I got back from New Orleans and I went to like a Halloween party and for some reason, I don't know what it was that night, but I just went, screw this, I can't do this anymore. And then I just decided I threw away all my cigarettes, all my vape liquid, everything, like no alcohol,
freeze again
nothing,
for
just
you guys.
quit everything. I just said I can't do it anymore.
That's awesome, though. And I know it's tough.
But the thing is, you've got to want to.
I-
You got to want to stop.
I
Proud
don't
of you,
even get a
man.
lot of
Congratulations.
Thanks,
That's
man.
probably where a
Thank
lot
you.
of people get wrong. They do it because somebody else tells them to, or whatever. Or they don't think they necessarily have an issue. So, um, again, knowing your why and the reason you want to do it, I figure that's a big step in the right direction.
Yeah, thank you.
Yes, congratulations on all that. And probably the last part here, we're gonna go into it. I was gonna call it the lightning round. So it's just a bunch of somewhat random questions, but just trying to get to know a little bit of your fandom, I
Sure.
guess. Um, so it's just rapid fire answer. Doesn't have to be anything too elaborate, unless you want to make it elaborate. That's cool too. You have a favorite Sting match?
Favorite Sting match? It's probably gonna have to be a really random match. It's Sting versus Kurt Angle, but it was in an empty arena match in TNA. For some reason, I don't know why that one hits me in 2006.
Yeah, good deal.
Favorite Sting memory is Sting wearing the Sting mask and taking it off and having the Sting paint on it.
Yes, I've seen that clip.
I tell you what, when I went to the wrestling show at the weekend, everybody that I spoke to, the wrestlers, the crew, everybody said to me that you should have.
Say that again.
Sorry about that. It's my cat making some funny
Check.
noise.
You broke up. Can you say that again? We didn't catch that.
I was just saying about like the Sting mask. I went to when I went to the weekend show for Smash Pro Wrestling. Every wrestler that I spoke to, every member of the crew that I spoke to, all said, you know, you really should have done the mask thing. Like when you were sitting there in the crowd, everybody said I should have done that.
And that's something you can start pulling out every now and again. It's fun.
Yeah, well, I just had a mask.
So
I
we're
just
talking
painted
about
up
the face
last
paint.
night.
Do you have a
So
favorite design? We might have touched on that a little bit earlier, but do you have a favorite design of Sting face paint?
Real quick though, I do want to hear your face paint. Which one's your favorite? And is it because it's easy? Is the easiest, or is it like
my favorite face paint is actually this one, but I do love to add the red teardrops to this thing. I don't. It's such a simple design, but I just love it. I dig it. But the other one is the red, the wolf pack. The wolf pack is iconic.
I
okay?
agree.
It really is. But the subtle red going down, like the tears. Oh my God! When I saw that, I was like, "Ooh, yeah." But crazy psycho Joker Sting with the eyebrow up here, and like, man, that was such a cool. Like, do you ever cosplay as Joker Sting?
I do want to cosplay as Joker Sting again because that one is just so easy. All I gotta do is the white base, and I just gotta go crazy. I don't have to be
Yeah.
really into it or anything.
I remember as a
No, I
kid,
want to see that
he
one.
came back in TNA with the red, where he just added the red. He was going for a little while, and he come back and turned around in that vignette, and I saw the red. For some reason, I don't know why, but like inner me, like inner child me, was like, "Oh my God, he's gonna come back as like he's gonna have different colors and all this." I had this yearning for some reason that the Surfer Pro or Surfer Pro, the Surfer's gimmick Sting was gonna make a return at some point in my life.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh,
With the
so
blonde
any
hair.
amount of color, right? Any amount of color, I was like, "Oh, okay, let's go." But,
My
I
thing
just remember
is,
having that thought when I seen it.
my thing with Sting is he was never a great promo. Like Sting was all passion and the fear of the ambiguity of it. Like you didn't know what he was gonna say or when he was gonna do it, what he was gonna do, when he was gonna do it. It was just kind of like he just gave you enough, kind of like Jake the Snake when he used to whisper, and you have to get real close to listen to hear what he's saying. Like Sting talked with such reverence, and you hung on every word because he didn't talk that often. So when he did, everything he said meant something. Everything was important. So even if he never gave a promo like Stone Cold or The Rock, he's still in that same category because the man literally just had to carry a bat and he was intimidating, and he'd just
Yeah.
pop up and down from the rooftop, and it's like, wait, what just happened? And the color commentator would basically be Sting's promo, like you said with Shivani earlier, or like it's just, I don't know, man. Like he was never a great promo, but that never hurt him, and I think we're talking about Sting, like that's pretty freaking cool.
And I mean, he had a lot of promo when he was Surfer Sting, but once he switched over to the Crow Sting, that gimmick lent itself to it was just all about I mean, it was Sting versus NWO, and AEW was like Sting versus AEW. So it's Sting versus the entire roster because he's a vigilante, you know? So, but I agree, just that his aura, the kids would say, his aura is, unmatched, I think, in a lot of different ways just because of that.
Super passionate.
Alright, next here, do we prefer WCW or AEW Sting?
100%. I think it's just because no disrespect, obviously, to WCW. WCW was not before my time, but I was too young when it was like still
That's fair.
around.
That's fair.
I didn't want to see AEW Sting do too much. Like when when late WWE Sting got powerbomb buckle bomb by Seth, I
Oh,
thought, oh my God, he killed Sting.
Yeah, I was so mad. I wanted to kill Seth. I was so
I
mad.
mean, I still don't like the guy, but I have my reasons. But he just seeing him just, and then pairing him with Darby Allin and all the crazy stuff that he does, it's like, oh, don't get hurt, Sting. Please don't get hurt. Like, because he did some pretty bad bumps in
I was just saying, I mean,
AEW.
you look at what he did there after being injured and being up there in age, like AEW was some of the craziest stuff this thing did. So, it might be a little bit underrated, I think, in his whole career.
Yeah, I remember seeing a bump they did, and he's like, the guy's in his mid-60s, and he jumped from a ladder straight to the outside onto 2 tables, and when
Yeah,
you
I
watch the
remember watching
replay, he smashes
on,
both of
hold
his
on.
knees into the ground.
Ooh.
Let's not use the word jump too loosely here. He fell off the ladder. I think it
would
was
be
cool
off
though
that.
that Tony brought in his kids or his sons to do what you do essentially at his last match. That was pretty cool. That was
Yeah,
pretty
now
cool.
his son's doing this. I mean, that it's wild.
I saw that Stephen Borden, right? That's what they call him.
Yeah.
Stephen Borden.
Yeah, I guess
He
his
goes
name.
by his original Sting song.
That's cool. But funny that you say that. So the next question is, do you have a favorite Sting theme song? Like, I don't know, because you said you didn't listen to a lot or watch a lot of his WCW stuff. So going back to like all the way back to Surfer Sting theme to his, I guess he used Megadeth, to all these different themes. You have a particular one that really makes you think Sting, or that pulls you in the most with the most nostalgia.
Yeah, well, my favorite ones are definitely his AEW theme, which is called Arrival. I don't know why that it just does something for me, especially when I'm walking into work, and it just gets me hyped up for that song. And the other one, the obvious one, is Seek and Destroy, Metallica.
Yeah, Metallica. That's right. I don't know why I said.
Which one's the one with the violins?
Was that?
WCW. When
It
he
was one of his
first started
WCW
really
ones.
early.
I like that one, but I also like the Metallica one. Honestly, the whole gimmick with the snow coming down in AEW, like that worked for me too. There wasn't a really bad Sting. I mean, maybe Surfer Sting, but
I don't know. I love Surfer Sting as a kid. So that was my jam. That's what got me into Sting. So
what was the tag team Sting was in with the Ultimate Warrior? The Dingo Warriors?
The Blade Runners.
the
Blade Runners.
Dingo Warrior was Ultimate Warrior's name at the time. Yeah,
The Blade Runners. And they look like, I'm sure they look fresh in the 80s when that happened, but like, I mean, Sting was a good looking dude, man.
They were
Sting
big.
was jacked.
Yeah,
Yeah, dude.
they were
Big time.
very juiced up. You
To
don't
the
want to run into
gills.
them. Yeah, don't run into them in any alley anywhere, because again, I think this is a pretty easy one for all of us. I would assume. Dream match for Sting. I'll hold off on mine. We'll get yours first, Jack. Is there a dream match that we didn't see?
I think. Do you really need to ask that question?
That's what I'm saying. I don't.
It's got to be Undertaker.
They were all
Sure.
not to take it, right?
Well, mine was Bret Hart, but yes,
Bret Hart.
prime Bret Hart. But
That's
because
good shout.
because you go Sharpshooter versus the Scorpion Deathlock, like who really owns it? Which is the real
Yeah.
one? That's how my come from is. But yeah, obviously Undertaker would have been, But then I'm kind of disappointed. Like last WrestleMania in San Francisco that they did with Triple H versus Sting. Like I loved when NWO came out and when DX came out, and like, I love seeing that. I just don't know if I needed to see Terminator under Triple H versus Sting, and then you're gonna bring him in. Why don't you have Sting go over? Like, I never understood the booking on that. Like, you finally have Sting here. Why is Hunter going over? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
Right. That's the prime example of politics and having that final stamp in WCW, like final nail in the coffin, which is asinine to think. If you're going to bring this legend in and just treat him like he is still this company that's
Like
out
a
of
jobber. What the hell does Sting have to prove to Triple H? Like, I'm glad Triple H tore his hamstring that match. Good.
Ouch.
I just thought about reviving the WCW versus WWE thing. Like, Hunter, let it go, man.
Right. Yeah, I think he pulled that doesn't work for me, brother.
That didn't work for me. Brother.
Seriously.
Now, if you go back to Halloween Havoc '98, we did have Bret Hart versus Sting in the United States title match.
No,
That
I know
was
we got it. My dream match was Prime Sting versus
Oh, I got you. I
Prime
got you.
Crow Sting versus Prime Excellence of Execution. And, you know, the biggest travesty, and we're going to get into this in a couple of weeks, but the Montreal Screwjob created Brett going to WCW, and then Bischoff iced him out for like 6 months and never, like, you have the hottest thing in wrestling. You could have had all these dream matches and you robbed us of it because your ego? Like, it just doesn't make any sense. We could have got so many matches. And then when WCW was purchased by by WWE, like, those contracts were so bloated and exorbitant. Like, we should have got Sting and Goldberg Prime and all these guys that were hot in WCW at the time in WWE instead of them sitting on their contracts. We got the NWO come in, but it took years. And then by that time, nobody wants to see, I love Razor or Scott Hall, but like, nobody needed to see him drunkenly walk down the ring doing the penta dance or the walk. Like, I didn't need to see it. And then, Kevin Nash's knees were knocking so loud and I'm walking down to the ring. It was just like, it doesn't work for me, brother.
Fair enough.
So,
Do you have any other wrestler that you would like to cosplay as?
No, I don't think I would ever cosplay as anybody else. Actually, no.
what about
Saying
Steven
that,
Regal?
actually, no. Well, mind you, I've already got the British accent, so that's
He's
good enough for me. But
You could be
No,
the
the only
man,
other-
the manliest man, or what was it? The working man?
We don't talk about that. That never existed.
he's a man.
Yes. Do you remember when they they goofed on him and they played that entrance?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh my god, that was hilarious.
Oh, you see Daniel Bryan just pissing himself laughing.
What were you
Sorry,
saying?
I
about
didn't mean
another-
to jump in front of you.
Sorry, what was the question again?
Is there another wrestler that you would ever cosplay as? Could you see yourself
CM
being-
Punk.
CM Punk? That'd be cool.
You know why? Because he's the best in the world.
Just asking.
Honestly, you're inspiring me because I think I'm going to embarrass Evie and show up at WrestleMania in full CM Punk gear.
Do it.
And I might actually buy her the stuff so she can be Rhea Ripley because she's a big fan and we met her last year. There it is, mommy.
Oh, that's wicked. That's so cool.
I think I might want to do that. Why not? Who cares, right?
As long as you're having fun, that's all that
Yeah.
matters.
I might do it. Just it's clobbering time.
That's the best battle
You
cry
better.
ever. I don't care what anyone says.
Work on my crisscross applesauce. Will be all right.
You go, well, does anybody have anything to add at all?
You got to explain that the convention question because I want to know, and I want to know if he wants to give us an answer on it.
Oh, okay, yeah. So one of the questions there, just randomly, the worst convention smell. I've been to a couple of them, and some of them, there's some odors that come out of these conventions. I don't know if you've ever experienced that.
I don't
His
know.
response
Enough
proves that he
said.
has. Those conventions are not sponsored by Old Spice.
Well, my dad used to wear that, and I always hated that smell, but I prefer that much more over this smell. Yeah, like certain conventions, they do have you smell them before you see them.
Right. The one that Sting was just at, the one half of it was like anime and stuff, and then the other half was the wrestlers. And I'm not trying to say anything, but like this side had a smell, and this side didn't. And I don't
Are you
know.
talking about the anime side?
Maybe, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, plead the
I-
fifth.
I absolutely love I used to be into cosplaying, but it was more like on the comic side, never wrestling or anything like that. But it's okay to admit that some anime fans need some hygiene checks.
I mean, wrestling fans too. I think that happens everywhere, especially when you get so many people going in and out. And but yeah, there's some interesting.
Yeah, bro, you have hundreds of thousands of dollars to buy these belts, and you can't buy a $7 stick of deodorant. Like, make it make sense. And if you're offended, buy yourself some deodorant.
If you're offended, then we're talking about you.
If the shoe fits, he said.
Exactly. What is your do you watch the current product right now?
I do, yeah.
What's your take on part-time wrestlers? Like Roman coming in, Jade coming from EA. What?
I'm sorry. I'm
Time out.
just laughing
You
at this.
cannot call the tribal chief part-time. I don't care what you say. Ain't nobody else in the history of WWE can do what he does.
Ma'am.
Nope.
Just because you've done it a
Nope.
lot of times doesn't mean you've done it better. Like the
Nope.
immortal CM Punk says.
The immortal.
Nope.
Well, let me tell you something, brother. That doesn't work for me.
I didn't
Like-
mean to interrupt your question, but I just
Okay,
don't
so
think
like
Roman Reigns
back
is
to-
his own category.
back to the part-time tribal chief. So much so that they had to create a tribal thief. What is your take on part-time? Because we've had a debate about Jade. How Jade Cargill I don't know if you remember who she is because she's the world champion right now, but we haven't seen her in 100 days. But her not performing, like how back in the day when you saw Sting wrestle all the time, or he would show up sporadically. Like, how do you feel in the current product? Like, what's your take on part-time wrestlers?
In a way, I kind of get it. I mean, you have, especially like today, the thing which I'm not sure if it was a real rule or a kayfabe rule, but then you had to defend your title at least once a month within a 30-day period, and if you didn't defend your belt, then you had to vacate it no matter what. And you got Jade Cargill that has gone 100 days and not defended the title once. What's up with that? I don't understand. But you have part-time wrestlers, which, I mean, I will say when Roman won the Rumble, I was disappointed. Really disappointed. But because I don't understand what we're doing this for. I'm sorry. I don't understand what we're doing it for. But I will say, for professional wrestlers, if you could just relate it to our current jobs now, if you could get paid so much money to only work a few days out of the year, would you not do it? I mean, I know I would. So,
Do not fault
but
them
at the
for
same
fault.
time, if they're part time, it's kind of go back to an argument which actually came from CM Punk when he was on the Colt Cabana podcast. I think when he was wrestling Undertaker, going, "Oh, you're going to wrestle Undertaker at WrestleMania," and he goes, "Okay, well, who's going to be at work tomorrow?" It's a fair question. It's sort of like,
And
okay, like, so I win or whatever. This guy, after the end of this, he goes away. What does that do for the guy who's still here? Nothing.
That makes 100% sense, and I'm glad you used that analogy because I put it out there on the internet and on my personal Twitter, and I've been getting a lot of bad feedback. I don't think Punk loses to Roman at Mania, and I don't think so. Not because I'm a Punk fan, I am, but I think Seth comes in because now he doesn't have an opponent because Braun Breaker ripped his chest in half. I think that Seth shows up, inadvertently screws over Roman instead of Punk, and then them two go on some type of part-time charade for the next 3 or 4 months leading into SummerSlam, because SummerSlam's now 2 days. And I think Punk, who shows up every week and has been the best soldier they've had and doing everything. I mean, you can hate Punk all you want, but this might be the best stretch of his career as far as promos, his work in the ring, his just the overall elevating everybody he works with. All his matches they're not great, they're not perfect, but you're watching, and to the point where, yeah, Roman Reigns is great. I acknowledge my tribal chief. I love the guy, but we don't get to see him as often as we'd like to. And yeah, it's appointment television. That's why they put it out. They just put it out the other day. The times he's going to be on Raw from now until Mania. So I don't. So let's book the main event for Mania. It's Sunday night in Vegas, and it's the end of the show. Who's holding a championship, and what happened in your eyes?
If it's gonna be Punk,
Triple H gives you the pen and says, "Here, book this for me."
it depends, because I got a sneaking suspicion that somehow, some way, Seth is gonna come back by the time of Elimination Chamber and insert himself. If he's healed up, may insert himself into the Elimination Chamber and insert himself into that match with CM Punk and Roman Reigns. I mean, that's what I think could happen. Obviously, it depends on Seth, but at the same time, I do not see Roman winning. And if he does win, I don't understand where we go from here. I don't understand, like, him winning the Rumble. I don't personally get it. I personally was rooting for Oba. I didn't really expect him to win, but I was rooting for the guy. But then I thought that Triple H has got a major problem, I think, in his booking, which is he seems just too afraid to put over younger guys or guys who are there more often.
You nailed it on the head. And I'm sorry, Beard. I don't mean to jump on if you have questions, but
Oh, you're good.
that's been my complaint. And he ruined it because he told me what the problem is on Unreal, the first season. This is where I need to get. Figure out how we get there. I fucking hate that. I hate it. Have a reason why. Why are we doing this? Why does it matter? Where are we going? We don't have any of that. And shit changes on the fly. They've had 5 different main events for both nights already, and they've changed them. And it's just like, what are we doing? Like, I mean, I get injuries happen and certain things happen, but like, Oba needed to win the Royal Rumble. He looked like an absolute monster. Now, he can change course and we get Oba versus Brock. Okay, I'm in, because Brock's showing up next week on Raw. Maybe Oba and Brock are somehow in the Elimination Chamber, and Oba and Brock have some type of nasty feud where they throw the one through the chains, because they're both incredibly strong. Then, okay, I get it. We need to see that. And then we see Brock and Gunther at SummerSlam. I don't know. I hate the booking right now. And I sound like such a mark because everybody in the IWC complains about, oh, Hunter's not doing this. Hunter's not doing this. Hunter's not doing this. And then he goes on TV and says, they're not doing this. They're not doing that. And then we look like idiots because we have an opinion.
Yeah, which is, I remember seeing that interview which he did, which is, oh, you should stop complaining and just enjoy the product. Oh, God forbid wrestling fans have an opinion on wrestling.
Seriously, dude. I mean, I think that's what unites all of us. And the long run is like, he's lucky we enjoy having these conversations. And there's so much content. Like, so the gimmick of our show is Beard's the elder statesman as far as knowledge goes. He's much more versed than I am. I'm the middle ground. I've been watching for a long time, but peripheral. But I know all the major points and a lot of the backstories. But Beard trumps me when it comes to that. And Evie, like it says on her picture, she's the new kid. So she's the one. We're all here to teach her. And while we're teaching her and she asks great questions, we're informing our fans. So that's kind of the gimmick of Beard and I going off on tangents and having a good conversation. Evie popping in whenever she has a question about something ridiculous we're talking about. And then we inform her as we're informing the fans. So that's what the come from is. So Beard and I have a lot more experience and dealing with all this bullshit and Vince and him changing things on the fly. And like, sure, Triple H has done a lot of great things, but the last 2 years as they've been filming the Unreal series has just, like, the whole Cena thing. What's your take on Cena? How is Cena looked at? Because he's kind of like Cody, the American Nightmare type of dad. Like, the Hulk Hogan side. Like, how was in the UK? How was John Cena portrayed? Is he like the superhero, even though he's not from the UK, or because he's an American built guy? Or did Hulk Hogan get over back in the day also there? Like, because your come from is going to be different than our come from, because you have a different POV than we do. You probably are more into guys like Finn Balor and William Regal and the guys that come from your area. So, or maybe not. Maybe I'm wrong, but that's my assumption. So maybe you could clarify it for me.
No, John Cena. I mean, man, like he's probably just as popular here as he is in the States. To be honest, I mean Hulk Hogan. I don't think Hulk Hogan truly was. He was more like the British Bulldog, more like the British Pride sort of thing. I mean, you know, the British strong style, like William Regal and whatnot. And like, even though Finn Balor's actually from Ireland, but then you got like guys like Drew McIntyre. But around where I live, like a lot of these guys actually wrestled like around sort of the area where I was before they got to like WWE and so on, which I find really cool. But no, Cena's really, 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 really popular here.
How's Cody getting over there? Because he is the American. I mean, that's his stick. Is the American Nightmare. Like, do you guys adopt that as your own, or does that not matter out there? Or you guys really don't give a shit?
It honestly does not matter. It does not matter that he's American and we're British. It doesn't matter. Like whoever appeals to somebody appeals to somebody.
Well, I asked that. Good. I asked that because of how Bret Hart was over everywhere, but not in the States. Like, I was wondering if there's a current guy that's maybe over there and not, because right now, if you were to go to Mexico, Grande Americano is so over, and the OG Grande Americano is like the biggest heel in AAA, and it's mind blowing to see, because the new Grande Americano gets cheered like he's the brand new Hulk Hogan or Dominic Mysterio, and when they brought back Chad Gable, it's like they hated his guts, like how it was supposed to be when they first did this. So it's kind of like I wanted to know what the UK version would be, or what would you say like is your guys' version of that?
Finn Balor is really popular, and especially if I had to go for anybody else, it has to be Drew McIntyre.
But I hate that guy so much. But it's because I'm a Punk fan. Because, well, one, because Evie's in love with him, and I hate that. And two, him and CM Punk, like, they fight like cats and dogs. So I don't really like Seth either. But I respect Seth. I mean, and I also respect Drew. So, I mean, to no end, because I know his origin story. I know the 3-man band. I know him getting fired 2 or 3 times. Like, I get, like, if he ever becomes cool with Punk, I'll be cool with him. Because I do admire his work, and his body's changed. His body's changed crazy. You had a beard on a guy, and like, holy shit. All right, I can get into this. I have a beard, thank you. He calls himself Beard.
Yeah, just, Drew McIntyre. Great guy.
She met him. She actually met him in San Diego.
He's tall. Like,
no shit. He's 6'7".
I'm 5'7". That's a whole foot taller than this. Like, I could look up his nose.
Stab him. What would you say? And I know Beard has another question, and so does Evie. But I'll stop talking after this. But what would you say is the biggest difference between shows in the UK versus shows in America? Because you've experienced both. Like, why do we feel like the crowds are just hotter over there? And what's your opinion on why they haven't gotten a WrestleMania, but Saudi Arabia is going to get one?
I'm still so pissy about that we didn't get WrestleMania, because WrestleMania in London, like, would have blown the roof off of that. Although technically Wembley Stadium doesn't really have a roof, but I've been to Wembley Stadium to go watch football, or what you guys call soccer. And that stadium is huge, and I think I'm going to be watching All In at Wembley Stadium this year, which in August, would be my first AEW show. But I just think when it comes to wrestling, I'm not sure what it is about us British fans, but we just get so into it and we're just so loud. But then I think it's even when you go to like football events or soccer events and we're just so loud and like get the chants going and you just see the difference between like, not that American fans aren't loud, they most definitely are, but sometimes it depends on where you go in the United States and then you hear British fans. We're always loud all the time. I'm not sure what it is.
Those NXT UK shows were phenomenal when it was Walter instead of Gunther. Like those shows were so loud. And you guys gave us the Cody Rhodes, Cody Rhodes.
It's the football chants
Roman,
again.
Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns.
Keep giving us those chants. We love them because we're not creative enough out here.
Yeah, because that comes from like with like the Roman Reigns chants. It's going like when you go like Manchester United, you're going Man United, and then we just change it like to different wrestlers' names.
That's so cool. I didn't know that. Fun fact, guys.
I'm a Man City fan, but it's only because I like Holland.
Oh,
I
that's fair.
don't follow, but still, that's I like the background, the origin.
Yeah, we get
How-
really creative. But I mean, I've heard some WWE shows where a lot of the time the crowd has to be muted just because we can get like quite a lot of curse words.
Well, our FCC still doesn't know what a wanker is, so you can still keep calling people that on TV. They don't block it out.
Kind of like how Dominic was getting away with spewing Spanish curse words, and they had no
Pendejo
idea.
and-
And you're
and
out
Liv
here
called-
just like, they let him say that on live
Well-
TV, bruh.
Well, on Raw, Liv called Stephanie Vakir puta, and that's like a
Like,
oh,
Bitch, I think, isn't it?
Well, in the word she used,
Worse.
it's a wobbly
It's kind of
term.
like fucking whore, fucking bitch in that sense.
Wow.
Yeah.
Apparently that
But that was a good promo, though. That was a good promo. You got to give it to him. That was good.
apparently that's also kind of the thing with Bad Bunny at the Super Bowl. He was singing some songs that
Yeah, but they translated the explicit version. They didn't translate what he said on the at the Super Bowl. How rad is the internet? Like, I hate it sometimes, but we're having this dope ass conversation with my man right here in the United Kingdom. Like, and we're in Los Angeles. You're in West Virginia. Like this is
We're literally in
phenomenal,
three
dude. Like, you
different
got
parts.
like life is crazy. How this all like. I mean, God, you just got to step back sometimes and just appreciate like relationships and partnerships and figuring shit out. Like, I can't tell you how grateful I am you made the time and got up early and put on the full face to join us today, dude. Like, I mean, I could not say more nice things about you, and I really do appreciate you and you doing that for us. And I mean, thank you, dude. Thank you.
Okay, I do want to insert. You did say that the makeup is hard to come off a little bit,
Mhm.
but have you tried coconut oil? Because that thing just melts everything. I'm just saying.
Usually to take this off is really easy. It just takes me 5 minutes. It's just baby oil. It's just baby oil and like baby wipes. That's all it takes. In all honesty.
Okay, because I was gonna say if you're having trouble, coconut oil just literally melts it
I
off.
will try coconut oil for when I do the Wolfpack sting because that is hard to get off.
It's awesome though.
Well, we do have one more question before we head out of here. So, if the real Sting were to call you up tomorrow, what would you have to tell him?
If I'd be even able to speak, whether I just scream and cry, I don't know. But I remember I posted up a video of me doing like an entrance really early on when I started doing this thing. And all I got was some emojis that he sent me. And even if it was just emojis, just knowing that he saw it, acknowledged it, recognized it was just that was enough for me. Like, but honestly, the only thing I could tell him is just honestly just thank you for just making me a wrestling fan, and thank you just for being you. Like, it impacted so much of my childhood and is still, a positive influence as an adult.
deal. Jack, thank you so much for sharing your journey in life and letting us talk some wrestling with you, just kind of hanging out. This was a blast. Hopefully, you had as much fun as I know we did. I feel confident on speaking with everybody for everybody here. Uh, where can we keep up with you on social media?
Now you can keep up with me on social media on just Instagram, that Sting gimmick. And it's usually like every week I post up some new photo or some new reel, but there's always going to be new stuff that's coming.
Good deal. And of course, uh, best of luck with the book coming out later this year. That's awesome. I'll be watching for that and excited to give that a read. Uh, but as far as us at Cheap Pop Society, you can check us out on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts. We're now on True Fans. That's a new thing as of 2 or 3 days ago. Hopefully, we end up on Amazon soon. So just follow us at Cheap Pop Society. Right? Like, follow, subscribe. That's all you got to do to become a member and join our society here. But until next time, we'll see you.
Bye.